welcome to our brand new show here at the Racing Post. We are off the leash, myself, Dave Clark, with Tony Bullen, the open race correspondent of the Racing Post. It's RP Greyhounds, sponsored by Premier Greyhound Racing. It's 2024. Tony, how are you?
Not too bad, Dave. I mean, is it really January? It seems that there's been hundreds of opens already. We ain't even halfway through January yet.
Well, we'll get to that. A very busy first week for you, but we're going to tackle the Arc Cesarewitch, £12,500 up for grabs. That resumes at the semi-final stage on Saturday night, live on Sky Sports Racing, behind the red button. We'll also have a little bit of chat about the Coral Essex Vase, which gets underway on Friday night. But let us know who you fancy. Like, comment and subscribe to our channel. In the comments below, let us know who you fancy. If you think myself and Tony are talking waffle, which sometimes, perhaps all the time, we are. But do get in touch. It's all about you guys as well. Interact with us. Let us know who you fancy, who you are backing. Right, let's talk then, Tony, about this first week. I know you've been beavering away, tapping away, putting the tips and betting in the Racing Post for the readers to have a look at who you fancy. Very, very busy, which is not really the norm for the first week of the year.
It certainly isn't. January's always been a bit of a slow burner, Dave, but obviously times are changing in the greyhound world and tracks a little bit short of their local dogs, so they're putting on a plethora of opens, and they've been filling, in fairness, and we've had some good quality races, so bring it on. Bring it on,
indeed. Right, we had 24 entries for the £12,500 Arc Cesarewitch. One last year by Cachise, 731 metres. There's no hiding place here, is there?
No, it had about an 8-year gap, didn't it? It was over more of a six-bend distance. Then when it returned, it was at Crayford and Romford, but over for them extreme marathon types, Dave. Now, you've got a mixture of both in this event because the 700-plus distance does take some getting.
Yeah, absolutely. Marathon runners to the fore as well as we headed into the first round. We're going to bring you replays of all four heats then. And we go to the first heat. Heat number one, Gutsy Jet was the winner here for Kevin Boone, who's stepping up in trip. And here we are, 731 metres, 45.57. Track 5, your winner. Bubbly Sculpture in track 3 finished second. And All Right Gouldy back in third. Tony, what did you make of this one?
Yeah, it's a good performance from Gutsy Jet. I mean, he contested the gold collar final over the 540 metres at Crayford. Finished a gallant third in the Challenge Cup at Oxford. The thing that I noticed with Central Park, Dave, it's always been a galloping track, and some of these dogs can show a bit more urgency at the boxes, and that's exactly what Gutsy Jet did here. All credit to Kuna Crow, though. She was persistent on the heels of Gutsy Jet all the way through, and then all of a sudden, Bubbly Sculpture bringing in that marathon stamina, won the Boxing Day marathon at Crayford. But Gutsy Jet, he certainly lived up to his name. He showed plenty of guts throughout, Dave.
Yeah, and an example of just how testing the trip is, because Kuna Crow, she's turned in second there in the red jacket. She won the Grand Prix at Sunderland. In that company, she didn't really get home and she was run out late on. But Gutsy Jet, Booney seems to be getting him out the boxes, that one. And as you say, the curved front, Tony, these are slightly different traps. So we might see dogs do slightly different things as they open. It's something a little bit different.
Yeah, some dogs love the scoop traps. Some don't adjust to it, but when they do adjust for it, you do see dramatic improvement sometimes, and there's no hiding place at Central Park. Even when you get it right at the boxes, you're still looking over your shoulder. Yeah,
long straights, they burn up plenty of petrol at Central Park. Right, let's move on to heat number 2 then. And this is a ground I really, really like. Ella Maestro for the Hambling Kennel out of Oxford. I know they think the world of this one and went from the front in good style. 44.98. Mad for Sterling, a ground who run well in the Challenge Cup down at Oxford. Stepped up in trip. Broke a little bit better on this occasion, Tony, and again was staying on strongly. And Belmore Sally, dual golden jacket winner, TV trophy as well. Not been firing on all cylinders on home soil, but they're putting petrol in the car, so to speak, travelling all the way down from Newcastle to Kent. She's in here. Their plan's going to be the golden jacket again. What did you make of her effort?
Yeah, she's yet to sort of recapture her very best form since returning, but the fact that she remains in the event, Dave, is reason for the others to be concerned, because we know how classy she is. I mean, she started off in the Puppy Classic when first arriving on the scene, then went on to do what she done in the jacket. But Ella Maestro's a dog that I really like. He's got a combination of early pace and staying power. They stepped him up in distance after making a winning debut at Toaster. And Mad for Sterling, I mean, he was just denied in the Challenge Cup at Oxford. Always looked a stayer. really good effort from the first two. Belmore Sally needs to raise her game though.
Yeah, dare I say it a little bit one-paced, Belmore Sally?
Yeah, there you say it. I mean, look, Connections, she's not got anything to prove really, but the fact that Connections are still taking on the big guns suggests that they still feel there's a big run in Belmore Sally.
Right, let's move on then. Let's have a look at that Ante-post Jolly now. Garfinny Blazer. Greyhound with unfinished business in the UK. Was trained by Graham Holland. Got to the final of the St Ledger. Was unfortunately withdrawn lame. Has since changed hands. Now with the 14 times champion trainer Mark Wallace. Was the Ante-post Jolly, Tony, and showed exactly why here, because this was very, very impressive off the front, and frighteningly for others, there's going to be more to come.
Yeah, that was the thing. This really was a serious marker this fella threw down in this particular race. He was third in the Corncucullen July last year. He was withdrawn from the semi-finals of the St Ledger, so who knows what might have been, Dave, in that particular competition. But I think Connections would be pleased with this. This was what I call a blowout run. All right, the track records are gone. They had to readjust their distances, Central Park, so the track records are going to go left, right and centre. But this was an all-round performance. You got Brady's Bullet, the Monmore Puppy Derby winner, in pursuit. And Bubbly Inferno came from out the clouds to qualify, but he was relentless at the front.
Yeah, quickest, of course, semi-finalist in the St Ledger. I think he was going to go very, very close in that. Has changed hands now with the MWD partnership. Mark Wallace wasn't flashy from the boxes there, but he has got real classy pace to the turn, hasn't he? And he's going to be very hard to beat.
Yeah, he is. And the thing is, the fact that Brady's Bullet turned second, he offset that fella's middle, because you'd expect Brady's Bullet to be closing on any dog turning second, but he didn't. He just sort of offset it. And then the Bubbly Inferno is a little bit chasey, we have to say, ran a blinder at a big price.
Yeah, looks a ground to keep qualifying there, Bubbly Inferno. We'll get on to the Ante-post market after we see the fourth and final first round heat. And this was another good performance here. Ballymac Taylor. Now, I've got to admit, I fancy Jack Tavern Magic here. Ballymac Taylor had been off since November. I thought the draw was a little bit tricky because she prefer a pitch on the inside here. But we know Jack Tavern Magic steers a wide course, will spin wide throughout. And in the latter stages, Tony left the door wide open.
Yeah, and this is the thing I was touching on about Central Park, Dave, where it suits those stamina-laden type. Ballymac Taylor's a real crowd pleaser, tends to come from 5th or 6th position. But on this occasion, she turned in a handy enough position. Jack Tavern Magic, the Regency finalist, took control. But as you touch on, that scenic route that he takes, he's always going to leave a gap. And if you're quick enough and close enough, a bitch like Ballymac Taylor's going to take that invitation, no dangers. And I just like the fact that that was her first competitive start since November. Connections would have taken qualifying, let alone winning well.
Yeah, what is frightening is the way in which Mark Wallace campaigns and trains his dogs in competitions is that you never see the best of them in the opening round, and they will just improve throughout the competition. So she's going to be a big, big player. She's going to be hard to keep out the frame. She's going to be very, very strong over the trip as well. Right, as I mentioned, 2 semi-finals then, only 12 remain, and they will line up live on Saturday night in at Central Park on Sky Sports Racing behind the red button. And we're now going to have a look at the draw for the semi-final. Now, up first in the first semi-final, we're going to see Ballymac Taylor in trap 2. She's on the inside of Ella Maestro. Belmore Sally's in there. Gutsy Jet in 5. All right, Goldie. Capel Rosa we just saw qualifying in 3rd there. What kind of shape is this market going to take in your eyes, Tony? Don't give us the winner just yet. We'll come to the goodies at the end of the show. But how do you see, we're going to see Ballymac Taylor, Ella Maestro. Who's going to be favourite?
Yeah, I would probably have to make Ballymac Taylor favourite just on the basis the way they bet in Ante-post anyway, and the fact that she's put up a good performance in the first round, is going to come on for that run. So she will go to the post favourite. But Ella Maestro is going to be a big player here. The difficult one to price, I mean, Belmore Sally, you wouldn't want to be going 8-10 to 1 Belmore Sally, but you wouldn't take those prices the way she's running. So she's going to be the interesting bitch. I think she'll be friendless personally, but how big is too big for a bitch like Belmore Sally? But I do feel that Ella Maestro, if winning the early battle, will ask a serious question of Ballymac Taylor. But I think she's fresh as a daisy, Ballymac Taylor. She's going to come on a bundle. I think she can just turn in a reasonable position and really ignite in the second half and prove too strong, Dave.
Could be interesting. Could be a case of catch me if you can there, with Ella Maestro maybe getting off the front. Right, let's move to the second semi-final then, again over the 731-metre trip, and the Ante-post favourite, who incidentally broke the track record in the first round. It went a couple of times. It's not a trip overly used, but officially is now the track record holder, Garfinny Blaze. Goes in track 2 with Brady's Bullet reopposing on the inside here, and 2 should really have the legs of 1 to the corner, we think here. And what sort of price is he going to be?
Yeah, I think he's going to be odds on, Dave. Garfinny Blaze. As I say, Brady's Bullet ran a creditable race behind Garfinny Blaze, but I think he's naturally going to come on for a further look round. I don't think there's anything to hold him up to the winning line first time, and whatever he's in front of are going to have a job passing him. The Mad for Sterling dog's a nice dog. He's always sort of looked like being a stayer, but the amount of dogs that you see, oh, that'll stay sixpence, don't. He has. And even over that extended distance, I thought he ran a good race. And Bubbly Inferno, she's chasey, but at a price, she could ruffle a few feathers. Jack Tavern Magic, we know, is going to steer a wide course throughout. But if 2 controls the inside, the rest is for second place.
You're absolutely. I like the format here. We only had 4 first-round heats rather than what's traditionally 36. So we've got the first 3 going through here. So a good time to play Ante-post still, because there's going to be not really too much hard luck stories knocking about, because the first 3 go through.
No, and the cream's risen to the top. I mean, sometimes you have competitions where they struggle to make the numbers, and you end up getting them filled with a few of the locals and dogs that probably ain't got any business being in the comps. I prefer to see a competition where it's structured well. This is a good structure. First 3 to qualify. Everyone's happy. And I think Mark Wallace will be certainly happy. I think the drive home for Mark will be a nice, pleasant journey.
Well, let's have a look at the Ante-post book then. It is a bottle, 2-1 Garfinny Blaze. The Ante-post favourite now was quite short on the original Ante-post book, as naturally shortened up given what transpired in that first round. All right, Goldie's the rag at 50. What are you liking the look of sort of bigger prices here? We know we're mad keen on the Jolly, Ella Maestro, Ballymac Taylor, Brady's Bullet, all with chances. Anything catch the eye? I thought Bubbly Inferno at 20-1 might catch the eye of a few each way players.
Yeah, I would have to weigh in with Bubbly Inferno as well. I mean, Bubbly Scorcher is another stamina-laden type, but I always remember that the match race that Bubbly Inferno and Ballymac Taylor had over that 900 metres at Romford. She went toe-to-toe with her for a long way, and she's got that ability to quicken up. You see in the heat, she got there and then was just content to lug along with the second dog. That's what she's about, but she can certainly pop up at a price.
Yeah, each way players perhaps interested there. Right, that is the Arc Cesarewitch. There's £12,500 up for grabs there. 2 semi-finals on Saturday night at Central Park. Sky Sports Racing behind the red button. Also, this weekend, and a favourite competition of mine, the £10,000 Coral Essex Vase gets underway. Now, we'll tackle this next week's show. We'll bring you the first round heats and, of course, look at the semi-finals. But we're going to look at the outright book here. And unsurprisingly, Mark Wallace's New Destiny is favourite. A very, very good trial. Yes, she was turned over in a trial stake last week, Tony, which is a class act.
Yeah, the worry, I do think she's the worthy Ante-post favourite and is the one to beat, because she can post she's the one that can go up sub 35 seconds. I think a few could get low 35, but New Destiny can break 35 seconds. I do think it was a vintage renewal, which I'm not being disrespectful to the others. Sometimes an event, the amount of times I've said that, and it turns out to be a corker of an event. But I do think the only worry with New Destiny, she's not a lid pinger, and there's 19 railers with pace. So you're going to have to sort of be lucky with the draw. But in a clean run race, New Destiny, Destiny was to be over sixpence, Dave, and I think winning the Essex Vase could be the springboard for her to really make waves on the staying scene going forward.
Yeah, I'll put her up as a dog to follow, an unoriginal one, I know, but I think she will make waves on the open race scene over 6 bends. But I didn't really have her pigeonholed as a 5.75 type for exactly what you've said there. I mean, she got turned over in the trial state last week, but the man at the end of the lead, Mark Wallace, knows how to get them out the boxes. So, you know, you can never write off one of his dogs if they get a tricky draw. But I get what you're saying with the top heavy railers, which seems to be the case with most competitions anyway. But the track draw is so important at Romford. Right, lap and a half of the track there then, 575 metres. 6 first round heats on Friday night, again on Sky Sports Racing behind the red button. Every week we'll touch on something very, very briefly, and we do welcome all your questions. We'll fire them to Tony, try and tackle anything that comes to light on off the leash. I'm going to throw one to you here, Tony. It's that time of the year, going bias. Now, some people believe in it, some people don't. A track that I've noticed, particularly, I think Monmore's favoured dogs on the inside. As a punter, this time of year, how much is that in your thoughts?
It's always at the faults, regardless. I mean, I've seen biases when you don't expect to see a bias, when the weather's perfect. It's just that sometimes you're scratching your head, you card up and you're like, what's going on here? This time of year, it's more pertinent. It does come to the fore, particularly Monmore. When it's cold, it just seems to favour the inside. I mean, there's been a few theories on how they prep the track, but you can blatantly see it, and it's a huge bias. It's not just a minimal bias. I mean, anyone that can get the early prices and you can spot it early, you can make it pay. Personally, even though you can make it pay, I just like to see fair. I like to see a level playing field, Dave. If you're going to get beat on merits. Like the only thing that does work with a bias is even the after effects, because some of those dogs that have been against the going, the dogs that have made hay get outgraded. So in a month or so's time, you can then make it pay by backing those dogs that was against it, because they're sitting in a grade where they're capable, whereas these other dogs have outgraded themselves where they've made it count with a bias.
Try and make a note on the form lines there when it favoured the inside massively. Perhaps look out for anything that caught the eye around the outside. Right, do get in touch with us. As I say, like, comment and subscribe in the comments below. Get in touch with us via social media as well, at RP Greyhounds, for any questions for next week's show. We'll try and tackle anything here on Off the Leash. Well, the clue's in the name. We are off the leash. We're letting the Bullen off the leash to tackle anything in the sport of greyhound racing. Let's get down to business then. Selections, Tony's picks then. We're going to go the 2 semi-finals of the Cesarewitch. Give us an outright pick, Tony, and then we'll get a pick off you for the Essex Vase as well. Up first then, that first semi-final of the Arc Cesarewitch. Who'd you fancy?
I'm Team Wallace throughout, Dave. I'm Ballymac Taylor. This is probably the tougher of the 2 semi-finals, in the basis that Ella Maestro, if getting to the front, will make things very, very difficult for Ballymac Taylor. But this could be a real thrilling finish, this race. But I just think Ballymac Taylor, she looks after herself. She's got the ability to quicken up at a vital stage of a race. That will serve her really well.
Okay, you said your team, Wallace, so I'm assuming we're going to be seeing Garfinny Blaze up next as well then, yeah?
Yeah, 100%. Again, if beating Brady's Bullet to the punch, he should do what he done last weekend. Keep an eye on Bubbly Inferno. Might be flashing home, bit of a chasey type. But if Garfinny Blaze is ahead, they've got to do the clock and something to beat him.
And will that be the case for outright honours as well?
Outright honours as well, yeah, Garfinny Blaze. To be true, if you're on Garfinny Blaze, you probably want Ella Maestro not to qualify. And I don't mean that. I'm just talking as a punter. Like, if you was connected, if you thought, well, who's me main worry of clearing? Ella Maestro, clearly. So you'd rather have a final if you're owning Garfinny Blaze without Ella Maestro in. But I think it'll be a very good final. I do think whatever 3 you pick out of the 2 semis, you're going to have a good final anyway.
Okay, so you've gone Fav. And who do you fancy for the Essex Vase?
Mark Wallace and the Fav, Dave.
It's true what they say about you. Odds on Bullen, they call you.
But no, I mean, she's class, and I didn't think it was a vintage renewal. The interesting thing with this Essex Vase is Liz and Rab McNair are stepping up these Queen prefix, this litter to 6 bends. Now, they're not just being put in that competition for a test. They must feel that they're going to make some sort of impact. They're trialled well. Their prep trials was really good, but that's over the 400 metres. But if they do stay, again, you could get some fancy prices up.
Absolutely. Well, my selections then, I'm going to go with Ella Maestro. Grant, I'm a big fan of. Huge pace to the corner. I think can win the opening semi-final of the Cesarewitch, get first run on Ballymac Taylor. Can't see beyond Garfini Blaze in that second semi. I think we'll just go from the front again, and I think the track record could be under pressure should he come away and hit the front early doors. I'm going to side with Ella Maestro, but I do like Bubbly Inferno each way as well. A big price, I think it's about 20 to 1 on the show. They keep qualifying. I put up Mad for Sterling in the Racing Post price-wise as well. One I'm hoping can qualify to the final at a big price. In the Essex Vase, I'm going to go with one of the royal family, if you like, from Liz and Radbourne. Now, I'm going to go with Queen Dusty, who's a class act. Lots of raiders, as Tony's already touched on. So I want something seeded around the outside. Going to be out wide, out of trouble. Queen Dusty for me in the Essex Vase. But looking forward to it. We'll tackle the final of the Cesarewitch and the semi-finals of the Essex Vase in next week's show. Do remember to like, comment and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts, who you're backing, who you fancy, if you've got any questions for us as well. This has been Off the Leash. Do remember to please gamble responsibly, and we'll see you next week.